Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Nowadays, people often treat information and knowledge as if they are the same, but actually they are not. At a glance, the difference might be not obvious, but understand the differences will change the way how you study and how you learn new skill in your life. So what do you think about the difference between information and knowledge? Let's think about it.
Friends, you are nothing like them. How could they say I was broken? How could they say
I will start with my simple definition. Information is raw data, facts or news. It's what you learn from a web page, hear from a lecture or learn from your friends. Information tells you what it delivers, the pieces of reality that can be true or false, useful or irrelevant. On the other hand, knowledge is deeper. Knowledge is information that you understand, internalize, and can use it in your life. Knowledge answers not only what, but also how and why. That information has been processed in your mind and then connected with the other ideas, practiced and integrated into your behavior. A simple way to think about it is information is an ingredient and knowledge is a recipe and a skill you need to cope with it. I will take math as an example because I believe everyone here has learned some math at school. Think back the earliest stage you learn numbers and arithmetic like 2 plus 3, 5. Those are facts, right? They are pieces of information handed to you. At first, you might memorize the rules and follow the procedures because someone told you how to do them. But when does that information become knowledge? It's when you use that instinctively. That's when you suddenly realize that you can calculate the change at a store without a calculator, or you can estimate how much pen you need for a word, or you can break down uncomplicated algebra problems into smaller steps. And that's moment that when arithmetic become automatic and useful in real life. That's knowledge. So information becomes knowledge when you understand the underlying concept, not just the rule, and when you can use it in practical situations and can explain it easily to someone else. So how to convert information into knowledge? Because information is a building block of a knowledge, so transformation requires that. And I will present my clear process for you to follow. So start by collecting sufficient amount of reliable information of the topic you want to learn. So here's my tips. Use multiple sources so you can get a different perspective. Prefer choosing sources that have explanation, include example and step-by-step reasoning. Reading once isn't enough. You need to process the information so that information becomes useful. Here are some techniques I use to understand things. Is summarize the ideas in your own words. Don't copy it. Rewrite it by yourself. Use Feynman technique. Explain the ideas as if you were teaching a child, and when your explanation breaks down, you fill gaps about it. Ask why and how many times because information is just the surface, and the deeper you go, the closer you come to the knowledge. You can create a mind map to connect your ideas, and you can check out my videos about mind mapping here. So we move to the step 3, apply it. Remember this, knowledge grows quickly when you use it. So how to apply? Use the minimum viable application idea or MVA. This idea is about implement the smallest version and workable version of what you want to do. Step 4 is review because your brain doesn't retain everything at the first exposure, so you must revisit material. Some of my strategies for this step is use spaced repetitions that you revisit the material after a period of time. Practice active recall. Test yourself without looking at notes. And when you revisit, you can try to add depth to that topic, like try to ask you some questions to connect the ideas that you know before. And the final step is repeat the cycle and deepen your knowledge. Repeat this step to move through different layers of your topics, and when you repeat them, you should try to a little deeper or widen your context. Let's say you have a broad topic, all you want to do is break it down into smaller subtopics and use step 1 to step 4 to master each subtopics and repeat it every time until you know all the aspects of that topic. So that's just a theory. Now move to the practical one. I will take coding as an example. So step 1, gather information. I will read some beginner-friendly guides about coding and some few tutorials on YouTube. At this stage, you probably won't understand everything, and that's completely fine. The goal here isn't mastery, but exposure. You just need to see the whole picture and realize how many smaller components that make up for that topic. In programming, there are tons of areas to explore, like different language, frameworks, or some concepts like data structures and algorithms. You know the whole picture, now you're just narrowing your focus. You just pick one of the most popular languages of programming to learn, like Python, Java, JavaScript, or C++, and they are really great. Once you pick a language, you realize that you can continue breaking it down into smaller steps like variables, operation, function, classes, arrays, lists, etc. You can pick one to start. Step 2 is understand. Once you read about some concept, you write it down in your own words, highlight some key terms, and you can mark anything that's confusing you so you can search it later. Writing it in your own words makes you process the idea instead of copying definition. You might think you understand something until you try to explain it. Why your explanation is feel unclear, that is a sign to go back to learn deeply and try to find more examples about that. Step 3 is apply. Once you feel somewhat comfortable with that topic, it's time to put it into action. Go to Google and search for specific exercises to what you have learned, like Python functions exercises. You will find plenty of exercises out there. Choose one or two to start. Don't rush. The purpose is not to finish quickly, but to strengthen the bridge between information and knowledge. Each exercise you did reinforce what you have just learned and spot out where's your weakness. After you finish all the basic topics in Python, you can challenge yourself with some small projects. It could be something fun and manageable like building a tic-tac-toe game or a simple calculator. The key is create something on your own, a small product that proves your knowledge is usable. Step 4. Review. Once you complete a topic or project, take time to review it. Go back to your notes and code. Ask yourself, do I remember right I wrote this line, or is there any part I still confusing? Revisiting your work after a few days or weeks helps you transfer your knowledge from a short-term memory to a long-term understanding. And the more you review, the more solid foundation you becomes. So the final is repeat. When you're comfortable with what you learn, move on to the next concept. Follow the same process for each concept, and over time, this information will turn into your skill. And remember, these steps are just frameworks. Everyone learns differently, and you can adjust this to fit your study style. So how long does it take to learn a skill? And there is no fixed timeline. Maybe 6 months or 1 year, because everyone have their own ability and each subject has its own requirements. Knowledge accumulates gradually. Small daily practice applied repeatedly produce far more reliable knowledge than busty study. There's a famous idea in philosophy. When quantity is sufficient, the quality changes. So don't expect overnight transformation. Expect steady growth. Knowledge doesn't appear by magic the moment you read something. It forms when you digest information, practice, and test yourself and integrate it. The process can be slow and sometimes frustrating, but that's how meaningful learning happens. So enjoy your process. I hope you can transform information to your knowledge, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.